Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Fish Tank Guy here, and welcome to episode number 17 of the Fish Tank Guy podcast. Today is August 29th, 2019. It's only been a fat 2 months since my last podcast. Sorry, everybody. The summer's brutal. But it's nearing an end. Although I love the summer, right? It's just a lot. You got a lot going on there, you know? Pretty busy. We got family trips. You got taking care of the pool. You got cutting the grass. You got, sweating like nobody's business, like there is no tomorrow in the summer. Where I'm at in Erie, the summers are really nice usually. We had a pretty good year this year in terms of weather. We had some super hot weeks. We had like 2 or 3 like really, really hot weeks, which was kind of brutal. But other than that, it was really nice weather this summer. Didn't have like a ton of rain. Other than that short heat wave, the temperature was really steady the rest of the summer, so it was really nice. I can't complain. But other than the fact that I can't do the podcast as much because I just don't have the time to sit down. And not to mention that people are just home all the time during the summer because the kids aren't in school, but they're old enough that they don't have to go to daycare every day. And, my wife was taking half days here and there, working from home remotely. And if I was trying to do a podcast with people home, it just wouldn't work. It would be a nightmare because I'd get interrupted and there'd be background noise and all this other stuff. So I don't subject you guys to that. So think of it as I did you guys a favor and spared you from listening to my terrible voice for a solid 30 minutes plus for 2 months. But here I am. And for those of you who are still listening, thank you for rejoining the podcast. Feel free to spread the word. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at RealFishTankGuy in both places. Go ahead and give me a follow. Send me a message every now and then. Say, hey, man, I really like the podcast, man. Or, hey, man, your podcast sucks, man. Whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say. I'm cool with it. I'm one of those people that, I'm old enough that I didn't grow up with the internet, and I see the internet for what it is. I don't put so much stock in it. So if you've ever gone to my YouTube videos, you'll see that people have said various things about me, right? Not like really mean, like go kill yourself or anything like that. Nothing like that, but like, they made fun of me for different things, and I just roll with it. I don't take it personally. Right? All of these people, they have their own flaws and their own, issues as well. And, if their idea of a good Saturday night is sitting behind their keyboard telling me that, I'm a doofus or whatever, that more power to them, right? I don't put too much stock in it. So, yeah, hit me up on my social media sometime. Let me know how you're doing. If you have any questions about fish-related stuff or video games or movies or anything, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So, all right, let's get into it here. Going to give you guys a brief life update. Talk to you a little bit about my summer vacation there with my family. Then we're going to get into short video game talk. We've got 5 movie reviews in 5 minutes or less. I got a fish of the week. And the fish tank topic this month is not necessarily going to be a research topic. It's just going to be something I discuss. And that would be fish tank neglect, which is something that I've been experiencing lately. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that because it's a very real thing. And if you watch other YouTubers, you won't really see a whole lot of it because they're painting you the best picture of their tanks. And I'm just going to be real with you guys. All right, that's what the Fish Tank Guy podcast is all about, being real and fish and other things that are not related to fish. So there you have it. Okay, so let's see, the life updates. So this summer I got an opportunity to go on a family vacation. We went for a week. We went to Philadelphia and New York City. Now, some people might think that's not really a vacation. That's, sightseeing, but sightseeing is a vacation, kind of. I had been to both cities. The kids had not been to either city. And my wife had... Oh, no. Guys. Oh, man. I can't. All right, I'll get there. We'll get through it. We'll get through this. My wife had never been to New York City, so thought that would be a really cool idea. There's a lot of things to see in both. We ended up having a really good time. We had a lot of fun. We did encounter some super hot weather. So in Philly the one day, it was 100, and it was really humid, and I think the real feel was like 105 or 107. So, we drank a lot of water that day, and we sweat. And, I heard a lot of complaining and moaning about how hot it was and how sweaty everyone was. And, because that really is what makes vacation memorable. It's really what makes it memorable. Doing all the planning, spending all the money, taking all the time, and then just hearing the wails and complaints of how things are not going correctly. Right. I think that's the more realistic view of how many vacations go. But aside from that day, it was actually pretty good. I really love Philadelphia. We went to the Reading Terminal Market every day. If you've never been there, it's basically like a large indoor market where they have a lot of food vendors. They also have like small shops. They have bakeries. They have, I think they're like souvenir stores. You go there. We went there every day for breakfast. You get really good breakfast there. Some places are really reasonable. So Reading Terminal Market, if you've never been to Philly, definitely hit that up. We did a lot of the, main sightseeing things like Rocky. We went to the Rocky Steps. We went to the Eastern State Penitentiary. We did a tour of that, which is really cool, really historical type place to go. Kind of creepy, right? But really, really awesome. They have a great haunted house there that I've actually never been to, but people have told me that it's really great. And what else we do? We did the double-decker tour bus, so that took us around to everywhere. And I'm trying to think what else we did. The one night I got to see my best friend and his family. We went out to eat with them and then hung out at his house for a while. I don't get to see him very often, so that was fun. And then after Philadelphia, we went to the Six Flags in New Jersey, which was great. That's a really awesome amusement park. They have cool rides there. They have great roller coasters. We had a lot of fun there too, so that was awesome. And let me rewind a second. Going back to the Rocky Steps, my wife is a huge Rocky fan. And actually, to be honest with you, I had never seen Rocky until I was in my mid-20s, which a lot of people would think is un-American, maybe, right? But never seen it, never really had a whole lot of interest in it, but she wanted me to see it. And to be honest with you, I'm not really a huge fan of Rocky 1 and 2. We're going through the Rockies again with the kids, but I would say that Rocky to me didn't really have much of an impact until I got to like Rocky 3. Like I think that Rocky 3 out of the first 3, Rocky 3 is my favorite. Let me explain to you why. Rocky 1 is a pretty good movie. Some of you may turn off the podcast when I say Rocky 1 is a pretty good movie. Some people think Rocky 1 is amazing, and it's a classic. Well, here's my beef with Rocky. Rocky is supposed to be this everyday man, hardworking guy, not very smart, but wants to get ahead in life, pushes himself. Guys, I just can't even, guys. You're just going to have to deal with the yawns, okay? So Rocky's this all-American guy. Wants to work hard. All that good stuff, right? Wants to become a fighter, a boxer. He trains. The best part of the Rocky movies, and my wife would agree, are the training scenes, right? You got the classic music. You got him running up the Rocky steps. He's always got one of those scenes where he's like running as fast as he can, and the camera's like panning along with him. It looks awesome, right? I actually love those scenes in movies. They do it a lot in Mission Impossible as well, when like Tom Cruise is running his full speed and the camera's panning along with it. It's just a really cool shot, right? So that part of the Rocky movies I'm good with, right? The realism, the guy next door, the likable character, he's kind of slow, right? The way he talks and everything, he's got that drawl, whatever. He's kind of, but he's a likable character. I like that part. My problem with Rocky 1 and 2 is the fights. That's my main problem with those movies. And I think what I don't understand is the rest of the movie is very realistic, in terms of like the way this guy is, the way he talks, the way he interacts with people, right? The way he trains, right? His goals and aspirations and different things. It's very realistic. And you get to the fights and they're super unrealistic. They're so unrealistic. Rocky, in both the first movies, Rocky walks into the fight. He just walks into getting his face beat in. He just constantly gets slugged away for like 3 or 4 minutes. He's, his eyes all swollen up. He's bleeding all over the place. And the whole time I'm watching these movies, I'm going, dude, put your hands up. Just put your hands up once. One time, put your hands up. I don't get it. And it like takes me out of it. It's like, and my wife goes like, well, that's because, he's like a metaphor for getting beat down and like, keep coming back. When you fall, you get back up again, right? And I get it, right? But it's like, he could be a little more smart about it. He could still get beat, right? He could still, take a few hits to the face. But every now and then he could put his freaking hands up, right? It's just like basic boxing 101. Dude, put your freaking hands up, man. If you watch Rocky 2, go back and watch Rocky 2 again. When he fights Apollo Creed at the end of Rocky 2, spoiler alert, maybe these movies are like 30 years old. When he fights Apollo Creed at the end of Rocky 2, he literally walks up to Creed with his hands at his side and starts taking punches right to the face. It's just, I don't get it. Rocky 3 turns it around for me because he actually has some technique. He tries to dodge punches. He tries to put his hands up every now and then. It's like, okay, I can buy into that. I can't buy into that other guy just taking swings in the face for 15 minutes. Dude, it's the craziest thing to me. I don't know. Anyway, people love the movie, that's fine, but I don't get it. Rocky 1 and 2, I think they're okay movies. It's just those fight scenes take me out of it so much that it takes it out of classic category for me, and it takes it down into good movie. I don't know. That's just where I'm at. Anyway, so we did that in Philly. We went to New York City. Oh, man. I think I have this thing like when I talk out loud. It just causes me to yawn. I don't know why. New York City. I'm sure there are people who love New York City, who want to live in New York City, who maybe live in New York City now. I'm one of those people who I really like New York City. I think it's a great place to visit. I always have a good time when I go there. I usually go there for 3 or 4 days at a time, and that's about all I need. I'm good. So it's like kind of by the time I see the sights, I get a feel for the city. I ride the subway there. I go down and I get a slice of pizza from Joe's, right? I'm ready to go. And that's just kind of the way I am with New York City. I could never live there. Definitely not. I like having a car too much. I like driving too much. But it's just a very interesting place. People romanticize New York City. There are parts of it that are really nice. But it's very inconsistent, right? If you want to take a nice romantic walk at night with your sweetheart there, right? You can start on one block, and it's a really enjoyable area. And you can still be walking in like a good place in New York City. And you know how like when you go on walks, you're supposed to like smell like the pine cones, right? In the lovely, you're supposed to smell the summer air, right? The moisture in the air, the humidity. You got this nice, right? It's a memorable experience. Well, in New York City, from block to block, you're either going to get that lovely, oh man, this crisp, clean air, or you're going to get that nice hot smell of urine and garbage. It's just, it hits you. It nothing like just got hit in a wall of hot garbage and urine when you're walking with your sweetheart. Nothing beats that. Nothing beats that, man. Yeah, it's just really weird. We did all the New York-y things. We went to the Statue of Liberty, which was a bear. It was super hot that day. I'm going to call this the Guy Who Yawns podcast. Statue of Liberty was good. It was just super crowded. It was super hot that day. There was a lot of complaining to be had. Went through water very quickly. Packed shoulder to shoulder with people. It was just that was probably one of the low lights. Just because there were so many people there. One of the highlights, we took the New York City by Night tour, which is roughly an hour and a half bus tour. And the really cool thing about it is at that point in the day, traffic is less, so the bus can actually just drive around. Whereas when you take the bus tour during the day, you're constantly stopping because the traffic is always terrible there. No matter where you're at, the traffic is always bad. So like the night tour was really awesome. They took us across the bridge over to Brooklyn, and then, as you're going across that bridge, you get an amazing view of the skyline at night, with all the buildings lit up, and it was just really awesome. So if you ever go to New York City, I highly recommend taking the night bus tour. Definitely worth it. That's cool. We went down to One World Trade Center. I got to see the 9/11 memorial, which was really, really humbling, and a really, really cool sight to see. And it's hard to believe that like my kids weren't even alive when it happened, but it was like such a significant day in my life in terms of like I can go right back to when that happened and just remember thinking like, what is happening? Like it didn't impact me personally. Like I didn't know anybody that was involved in it, or I didn't know anybody who passed away, but I mean, it was just a real significant, memorable event, in history in my life. And it's just hard to think that my kids were like 9/11. We know a little bit about it, but not really. Right. So it was really interesting to go there and check that out. What else we do? We did the Empire State Building. We went all the way to the top, which was very cool. We ate at a bunch of overpriced restaurants. That was a good time. I think we had a $16 pastrami sandwich right around there. Yeah, that was cool. So, you spend a lot of money on food in New York City, that's for sure. And we actually stayed in New Jersey, didn't stay in New York City. Wanted the hotel room that you could actually walk around in, and your bed wasn't butted up against both walls. So we did that, and that ended up working out good. And, oh man, the yawning man strikes again. So that was my family vacation. It was pretty good. Hopefully you guys got an opportunity to go somewhere this summer, to take a little trip, even if it wasn't for a week, even if it's just overnight or a day trip somewhere. Definitely got to take advantage of this summer, especially for those of us who live on the East Coast, and especially in the Northeast part of the country. Got to take in that summer, because the snow is going to be coming soon. Hopefully not. We still got a couple months of good weather before the snow flies, but oh yeah, there. All right. So there are the life updates. What have I been gaming lately? So I finished a game called Yooka-Laylee. I think I talked about it on the last podcast. I finished it 100%, got all of the quills, all of the pages they're called, and I really enjoyed the game. I think it took me a little over 15 hours to beat. It is a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. I like the game. I thought the worlds were a little bit too big. It was closer to Banjo-Tooie than it was to Banjo-Kazooie, but Banjo-Tooie was so big and confusing that I really actually had a hard time just getting through it. So Yooka-Laylee, I enjoyed it enough to play the whole thing, get everything, and like 100% finish the game. I got it for like $10, so I would definitely recommend it if you're into 3D platformers. A very cool game. Actually, 2 days ago, I just finished Halo 1, the Anniversary Edition in the Halo Master Collection. I had never beaten the Halo 1 campaign before, and I feel like it's a classic game, and since I'm a big gamer, I feel like I should have played it at some point. So I played Halo 1, and my thoughts on Halo 1 are that Halo 1 is bad. That's in summary, Halo 1 is not good. It's bad. I know a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of playing Halo when it first came out, and I just, for me, I didn't play it when I was younger. So I didn't experience the innovations and, the evolutions of the first-person shooter game through Halo. So I don't have that feeling about it. And when I play it now, it just plays like a repetitive, monotonous first-person shooter where you take a couple shots, you go back into cover. Your gun reloads really slowly in the middle of battle. Like, I'm used to playing Doom, right, where it's just this fast action, fast pace. Like, that's like the new standard for like a straight up FPS game is the newer version of Doom, right? And it's just like the Halo 1, oh my gosh, campaign was a freaking slog. Like, it was an hour a mission, basically 10 missions, 10 hours, maybe a little bit longer. And there were just times when I was just like yelling at the screen, like, "Come on, reload your freaking gun, man!" Like I was just like getting super frustrated, and I pushed myself to get through it, just so like I've beaten Halo 1. I'm a gamer, and I have played Halo 1, and despite hating it, I have at least given it the good old college try, right? So yeah, Halo 1, it was not great. I didn't really enjoy it at all. I can't really recommend it to anybody. I mean, I'm sure if you liked it back in the day, that's good. Good for you. And if you have fond memories of it, that's awesome too. I know that there are games that I love that I played when I was younger that might not hold up very well today, but because of who I was and where I was at in life and how old I was when I played them, I have these great memories, and that will trump all of the shortcomings of the game now, and I understand that. So if you love Halo 1, that's cool. I will say this though, if you've never played Halo 1, definitely have super low expectations if for some reason you would go back and play it now. That's all I have to say. What else have I been playing? I've been playing Fortnite still been going strong on Fortnite. Season 10 now. I started on Season 3. Really enjoy playing it with my buddies. Season 10, they're kind of screwing up a little bit. They took out all the mobility, and it's not quite as fast-paced and fun as Season 9, in my opinion, but we're still playing it. We're still having a good time, whatever. And the next game that I'm playing currently for single player is Crash Team Racing. I think it's called Nitro Refueled. I have it on the Xbox One. It is the, alternative kart racer to Mario Kart, and it's actually a really fun game, and it's really challenging. So if you like kart racer type games, I would definitely recommend it, but be prepared to put in like the practice and to work on courses and play them multiple times in order to get the that first place trophy, whatever it is, right? In order to progress through the game, you have to get first, right? To progress through the game. It's not like Mario where you play 4 races and then you have a point total at the end. Nope, it's race by race by race by race. You have to get first before you proceed. So some of the races are pretty hard. I've beaten some of them on the first try. Others took me, half dozen tries to get first place. There were some that took more just because they were really difficult. You got to get the power. So I thought, okay, I'm going off into the weeds here. All right, move on. All right. Okay, so let's do our 5 movie reviews in 5 minutes or less. It'll be 5 minutes or less today, I'm pretty sure. Where are we at here? We're coming in at 23 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, here we go. The first one is a movie called Hotel Mumbai. It's actually based on a true story. It's based on a hotel over in India in the middle of a city Mumbai, probably. I can't remember, honestly. I watched it back in July. Where the city is under like terrorist attack, and the hotel staff basically put their lives on the line in order to protect their guests. And it is based on a true story, and there is a lot of truth to it. Obviously, there's some glamorization there for a Hollywood movie, but it's like the violence is kind of brutal, but the character, I don't know how you say it, the character the hotel staff shows to protect their guests is like really endearing. And I thought it was a really good movie. I gave it a B+. The next movie is called The Best of Enemies. It has Sam Rockwell, and I can't remember the actress's name from the movie, but it is essentially about Sam Rockwell is a member of the KKK, and this other woman, she's a black woman. They have to come together and be on this council to, better education, better the education system for black students, and, kind of push things ahead for the civil rights movement. And it's really interesting because Sam Rockwell is this KKK member, and he's a prominent member in the KKK. And this is also based on a true story, and they show the people at the end of the movie in real life, which was really cool. But it's really interesting to watch him come into the situation with all of his prejudice and with all of his, racism. And then over the course of the movie, he realizes that a lot of the things he believes in are... He simply believes them because they've been told to him, not because he's actually experienced it. He's been told all these negative things about black people, and he feels all these negative things towards them, but he's never actually gotten the opportunity to get to know even one black person. And over the course of the movie, he does get to, know more about the culture and the people, and he ends up becoming kind of a proponent for them. Spoiler alert, right? But it was a cool movie. I gave it an A. I really enjoyed it. Next one was Captain Marvel. Not going to say a lot about this. I gave it a C. I just thought it was okay. I think I'm kind of getting burned out on superhero movies. I thought Brie Larson, she was sort of like a monotone type character. She didn't show a lot of personality. There were some funny parts, but it was kind of just like not dumbed down, like kind of muted, I guess I would say. I don't know. It lacks something for me. I gave it a C. Toy Story 4, I actually saw in the theater with my family. I thought it was pretty good. I was hovering at like the B+ range, but I'll give it an A-. The only reason I didn't give it an A is because it seems like it's just sort of a tack on. It didn't, they didn't really need to make the movie. I was a little disappointed at the ending. You know what? I'm going to give it a B+. I'm going to stick with the B+. Because I was a little disappointed in the ending. But overall, it's a Toy Story movie. They put a lot of time and effort into them. It was funny in parts. It was endearing. It was all the things you expect from Toy Story. So I would definitely recommend that to check out. Gave Toy Story 4 a B+. And last but not least is a movie called Serenity. Now, this movie has Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway in it. I read a lot of negative things. I actually had this movie queued up to watch for quite some time, but it had a relatively negative review score on IMDb. So every time I brought it up, my wife was like, and I was like, yeah, me too. I don't know. It doesn't have a great score. Like, I'm interested in it, but I think it's going to be bad. So, well, anyway, Gary Whitta, who is the guy who wrote Star Wars Rogue One and Book of Eli, and then he does comic books, and a lot of other things, he tweeted out randomly one day, the best thing about this week is that Serenity went on Amazon Prime Video. Wow, what a movie, right? And then he posted a couple more tweets about it, and I was like, okay, I like this guy's style, his writing style, and whatnot. So I led some credence into his suggestion. So I told my wife, and I was like, hey, this Gary Whitta guy, he really recommends we should check it. We watched it. Man, it was pretty good. It was good. My expectations were super low. Go in with super low expectations because it is a divisive movie. Either you will like it or you will love it or you will hate it. And I'm closer to the love it. I gave it an A-. I was shocked. That it was as good as it was. It was a different kind of movie, and you have to be okay with seeing a movie that's kind of weird, right? Where it's not like your typical plot, it's not your typical plot resolution, it's kind of odd. But I think that's kind of what I liked about it because it was well done despite being so strange. So Serenity, there you go, A-. I think I came in under 5 minutes. I don't really know. Don't really care. Pressing forward here. All right, we're going to do the fish tank topic of the week fairly briefly. And then we are going to talk about the fish of the week, and then we'll wrap it up. I ain't coming anywhere near 30 minutes because that's how I freaking roll, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, fish tank topic of the week is I'm just going to give you updates on my tanks, and then I'm going to talk to you about tank neglect as I'm giving you updates. My 29-gallon BioCube has seen much better days. A lot of my coral have shrunk. Some of them have died. Some of them don't look good. Some of them are bleached. I have algae in the tank. There's algae on the sand. There's algae on the rocks. And there's a lot of algae on the glass. And I'll be honest with you guys, this is kind of what will happen to you at some point in time if you have a fish tank. You're going to end up neglecting your tank. You're going to get busy. You're going to have a lot of stuff going on. And what was supposed to be 1 hour of maintenance a week becomes you don't have time to do it, right? 1 hour of maintenance a week. 1 hour doesn't seem that bad. Like 1 hour seems decent, right? Other than feeding your fish every day, 1 hour on the weekend to clean your tank and do a water change doesn't seem like a big deal. It'll eventually become a big deal, and you won't be able to do it. So you're going to get to the point where I'm at, where you're dealing with fish tank neglect. Your tank's going to look bad. It's not going to be a showpiece in your room or in your house anymore. And you have to figure out, you have to make one of two choices. One, that you're okay with it looking like garbage, and it will continue to look like garbage. Or B, you're going to want to get back on the horse, and you're going to want to start cleaning it again and bringing it back up to where it was. You do have a third option, which is just to take it down and maybe revisit it in a few years or at another point in time when you have more availability to keep up with it, right? So there are three options. I'm going with option number 2, which is to clean it up, get it back to where it should be, and try to maintain a regular maintenance schedule again. Now, one of my issues in terms of keeping fish tanks is that I got the fish tank bug. Obviously, I started the Fish Tank Guy YouTube channel. And because of that, I wanted to keep creating content for my viewers. I wanted to come up with new content. It's not easy to do that, to be honest with you, week in, week out, come up with a new video to make. So what I felt that my solution to that problem was have another fish tank. You can do another series of videos if you have another fish tank. Well, the problem with having another fish tank is that you have another point of maintenance. You have another point of time you need to give, right? So basically what I'm trying to get at is don't overburden yourself with fish tanks. Don't get so involved that all of your fish tanks suffer as a result. That's kind of what has happened to me. And I've started to draw back a little bit. I drained my only remaining freshwater tank. It is, I think it was a 13 or 16 gallon bow front tank. It's on my channel. I really love the tank, but I decided to drain it. I'm not going to keep up with it anymore. Just to let you guys know, you'll probably be the first to know on the podcast that I am going to be taking down the 5-gallon Pico Reef as well. I made a poor decision with putting a certain coral into that tank that made the maintenance on that tank skyrocket. Now, keeping smaller nano reef tanks is already difficult already, but I chose to put a rather needy coral in that system, and I've been suffering ever since trying to keep up with that tank, and it has not gone well. The fish tank tower is a great idea, right? I really love the idea. I really love the look of it when it looks good, but I haven't been able to keep up with that either because it's 3 separate tanks. It's one system, but it's 3 tanks. And I went from a 29-gallon BioCube and a couple freshwater tanks which, let's face it, you barely have to do anything with freshwater tanks. I went from 1 saltwater tank, right? 1 saltwater tank to 5 saltwater tanks. A 29, 3 20s, and a 5. And for a period of time there, I had like the 10 running concurrently. So I had 6 tanks, and now I have 5, right? And I love having them. They're awesome. They look great. People like checking them out when they come over to the house. But now the problem is, instead of me being able to keep up with my 1 tank and it looking pristine at all times, I have 5 tanks and I can't keep up with any of them. So just a word of warning for those of you who are involved in the saltwater hobby. Maybe you just got started. Maybe you're liking it, right? and you're excited about the hobby, and you want to move forward in the hobby, you want to get more involved, getting more tanks might not be the answer for you. I would just this is just a word of caution, make sure that if you get more tanks, you have the capabilities and the time to keep up with all of them. So the next part of this conversation is, okay, now I've got myself in too deep. What do I do? I don't have any research for you. There's no research, right? There's no research. There's no, you can go on message boards or whatever, but it's based on your situation. Now, for me, like I said, I think the first step of this is needing to scale down. So that's why my freshwater tank is offline. I wanted to have a freshwater tank still, so that's why I'm doing the tank on my desk at work. So I think that'll be sweet, right? But that freshwater tank isn't much to maintain. It'll be at work. I'll be able to maintain it like at lunchtime or whatever. That'll be easier for me, right? But I took down the freshwater tank at home. I think I'm going to take down the Pico Reef because that is one of my highest maintenance tanks. I'm starting with the tank that burdens me the most, that brings me the least enjoyment, right? It's a very, very small tank, a lot of maintenance. That makes the most sense to cut back on, right? So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut back, and then you're going to want to find out find ways that you can make maintenance on your current tanks easier. Maybe you need to set aside an hour every week, and you need to make sure everybody else in your house knows, like, hey, for this hour every week, I'm offline. I got to do my own thing. I can't help you. I can't be involved in anything for this hour because I got some stuff to take care of, right? Maybe you need to do something like that. Maybe you need to look at better, chemical filtration. Can you put some more Purigen or carbon or something into your system that will help you with maintenance? Can you buy more filter socks so you can change them out more regularly so they are sucking up most of your dirty water rather than getting overfilled and then your dirty water returning back into your tank? Maybe that's something you could do. So when you overwhelm yourself and you get to the point where you have neglected your tanks almost beyond repair, the first step is to look at scaling back, and the second step is to look at your situation and figure out how you can do it, how you can work smarter, not harder. So that way you can still enjoy the hobby. You can still have a tank, 2 tanks, whatever you might want to do, but you're not overwhelmed and burdened by having them. Rather, you can just enjoy them, right? And you can show them off to other people. And look, here's the other thing. The cool thing about the fish tank hobby is getting other people involved. That's one thing I really like about my YouTube channel is I've had people tell me like, hey, you inspired me to start a saltwater tank. I've always had freshwater. I always wanted to start a saltwater. I watched your channel and now I started a saltwater tank. Like, did I make that guy more money or that lady more money, right? Did I give them something? No, but like they were inspired to follow something they're interested in based on my channel, which is really cool. And you can do that with other people with your own fish tank at home. Somebody might come over your house and see your fish tank and be like, wow, that's really cool. Is it really hard to take care of that? Could I do something like that in my home? If you've got a nice looking tank, you might get somebody who would walk into your house and say that. If you got a really yucky, dirty looking tank, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't want a fish tank because they look like that, right? So that's something else to consider. And that's why I think that taking care of your fish tanks is important. And when you get to the point where you're neglecting them, you need to switch things up a little bit. And like I said, work smarter, not harder. Minimize your footprint a little bit and make things easier for yourself. So there you go. There's my fish tank topic of the week. Sorry, it was very informal, but I think it was something I need to talk about. Those are my updates on my tanks, by the way. The fish tank tower is, it's doing fine. I haven't added anything to it because I don't feel good about where it's at, and that's why I need to reduce my footprint so I can take care of it a little bit better. So, okay, today's fish of the week is, I can't do drum roll, the yellow tang. This is one of the most well-recognized fish in the saltwater aquarium hobby, and it's a really awesome fish. You just need a little bit bigger of a tank to keep it. That's why I don't have one yet. All right, so I'm on Live Aquaria there. I'm looking at the quick stats. Care level is easy. Temperament, semi-aggressive. Color, it's yellow. Obviously, yellow tang. Reef compatible, yes. Max size up to 8 inches. This says minimum tank size 100 gallons. I've seen minimum tank size for these of like 55 gallons. So you might be able to get away with having a smaller yellow tang in a 55-gallon tank. But let's talk a little bit about, wait, I don't have the right one here. I have this like captive, hold on a minute. I have this captive, I have a captive bred yellow tang. Okay, here's the other one, yellow tang. Okay. All right, let me read you through the overview real quick, and we'll wrap it up and get the frick out of here, all right? The yellow tang is for many aquarists the definitive fish of home saltwater aquariums. See, I told you. With its oval-shaped, vibrant yellow body, scientific name brightens any marine system. It's an active swimmer that will glide throughout your aquarium in near constant motion, acting as an aquarium tour guide of sorts to any onlooker who follows its meandering swim path. Though iconic to the reefs of Hawaii, its natural habitat is actually widespread throughout the Pacific Ocean. As far as Indonesia and the Great Barrier Reef, it's also known as a yellow sailfin tang or yellow surgeonfish. For best care, it should be housed in an aquarium with at least 100 gallons with ample room to swim. Blah, blah, blah. It will eat meaty foods along with other fish in the aquarium. It is important the yellow tang is offered plenty of marine-based seaweed and algae. This will strengthen its immune system, reduce aggression, and improve overall health. Okay. The yellow tang is very common, extremely popular, and a hearty addition to any fish-only or reef aquarium system. So there you have the overview. Let's take a look at some of the customer testimonials there. Oh, we got a whole bunch of them. We got 15 of them. We're just going to do a few. Jonathan Z. from Atlanta. This is one of the healthiest looking and brightest yellow tangs I've owned. One of the few tangs that came with his original wildlife diet rather than being conditioned to eat flakes. He gets along well with the other tank mates and even my cleaner wrasses. Bobby B. from Lake Worth, Florida. This is truly a beautiful fish. I bought it for its beautiful yellow color and it truly brightens my tank. This fish is healthy and about 5 inches long. I feed it green algae, plant cubes, or romaine lettuce rubber banded to a rock. All right, thanks, Bobby. Who else we got? We got Austin G. from Jersey. I have a yellow tang. Okay, so this guy wrote, oh, Judas. Well, this guy like in 5th grade. This guy is writing a review on the yellow tang page, and his first sentence is, I have a yellow tang, period. Okay, I have a yellow tang. Oh, good to know. My yellow tang is relatively peaceful, period. He gets along with all my fish, period. But I have seen him chase and nip at my yellow long-noosed butterfly fish, period. I think this is a great fish for beginners, period. Oh, shoot. All right. All right, we're going to go with Reese A. from California. He's going to have a distinguished voice. He wrote quite a lot, so I'm going to read what he has to say. This is a beautiful fish. He grazes on all of my vegetation in the tank and doesn't harm a single thing. It has a great relationship with my cleaner shrimp. He goes up to it and the shrimp cleans it off. The only downside is I have 3 emerald crabs and they have been eating all of the vegetation, so there is nothing left for my tang, gosh dang it. Put these guys on algae strips because they are herbivores, but if you don't have crabs, I hope not, and have a lot of plants, there is no worry. My tang also enjoys sinking pellets. This is a great addition to a community tank. If they are paired up with other big fish, they will do great, but don't pair them up with other yellow tangs. Thank you, Reese, from San Francisco, California. There you have it. Fish of the week, yellow tang. Check it out. If you got a 55-gallon or larger tank, they would make an awesome addition. They're super dope. They have a great personality, and they're super colorful, so they'd be cool to add to your tank. So, hey, this has been the Fish Tank Guy podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you listened this whole time, very good of you. And follow me on social media there, on Instagram or Twitter, Real Fish Tank Guy is my handle or screen name or whatever you need to call it nowadays. And I'm going to try to do a podcast within the next month, man. I'm not going to do a podcast every other week, man, because I'm never going to be able to do it every other week. So let's just face it. I'm going to go with one podcast a month. You guys can check it out if you want. I appreciate your support. Hit me up. Let me know what you're doing, how you been. You got any questions? I'll answer them for you on the podcast. And until a future, nope, I'm not doing that tagline. That's my YouTube tagline. I'm just telling you guys that I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Get ready for fall. And I will see you on the next Fish Tank Guy podcast. All right, everybody, have a good day. See you.